Murder for hire. Yes, I said it. Murder for hire. Now you already know it's about to get deep when I say that. A true story about an inheritance, family secrets, murder, attempted murder, corruption in the police force, and jail time for many. From the gritty streets of Newark, New Jersey, to the gutters of Camden, New Jersey, this is my story. I just wanted to speak on a few things. Be careful who you play with, because you never know who's protecting them. Not just in the physical, but in the spirit realm. Be careful who you leave your legacy to. You've worked so hard for your whole life and accumulated finances and properties to make sure your family is stable and you have the baton there to leave for your kids to carry forth and build on. These same people didn't respect you while you were alive, made horrible decisions with finances when they were alive, while you were alive, in and out of jail, and will shit on your legacy when you're gone. The ones who show you they can't take care of their own child, the ones who didn't and still don't want much for their lives, they say they're living in the moment. They don't care about their descendants' lives. The ones who are jealous and envious, liars and cheats, they do not deserve your hard-earned money or properties. These are the same people who never had a job, didn't graduate high school, serving on the block, in and out of jail, cheating on their man, having sex with other people's husbands, having sex with their family members, boyfriends, and child's fathers. Be careful of those types. They will ruin your legacy and your future generations with their karma that they've accumulated while scheming on others. For example, my son's father was a veteran. No, I'm sorry. My son's grandfather was a veteran and a sheriff of Newark. When he died, he gave majority of the finances to his first son, and his second child got a few things, but not much, not like the slouch of an older son he had. My son's father was the oldest son. He took over $500,000 with a pension as well, and spent it on hotels, mall trips, friends, some to family, and the rest to put multiple hits on his son's mother. Money on my head. Go and get your refund, motherfucker. I ain't dead. Even his mother, who has power of attorney over his bank account, spent money on trips out the country and buying her ex-girlfriend a ring. She even had involvements in paying people to attack me. His own father, my son's grandfather, came to me in a dream, bless you, baby, and told me that he was going to fix things. My son's father never did for his son. He would take pictures that I had of my son and post it on Facebook as if he has been there with my son, as if he spends time with my son, is a great father, father of the motherfucking generation. And he has not spent not a night with my son. This man gave me $20 when he got that inheritance. He left me and started messing with somebody else, which was fine, because I understood he was going through things. He just lost his father. So I was not upset that he left. But to come back with $20 when I say your son needs some stuff, after he's 2 years old. You come to visit and I say, can we go to the store and get some stuff for the baby? And you go and get $20 worth of shit for your son. And you got $500K that I know of, plus the pension. Now, I'm not counting your money, but I just don't understand how fucking bitches in hotels taking pictures, doing videos with that shit going on with you and my cousin. I don't understand how that's more important than, bless you, baby, providing for your son. Anyway, he continued to be in and out of jail and went from counterfeit money to a gun charge to murder, which is why he is in county right now. As of July 8th, 2021. A year ago, actually, in June, he got locked up for this murder. Him and his gang members, maybe 4 of them, set up a guy in meeting. They set up a meeting with a guy. They pulled up on him and forced him into a truck. Now, mind you, there's a video on YouTube where it's called Soulless. Now, I didn't think about this when it was made back in 2009, but now that I think of it, it relates to this murder that just happened. And in that video, Soulless, he was in the video doing the same thing that happened with this guy in Camden, where they snatched him up and put him in a vehicle. What's that called? With the gun on him? But they got another term for it. So, weapons drawn. He pulled up on this guy and forced him into the car. This person was found in an alley. His name, I don't know it as of like right now. Like, hold on, matter of fact, I'm about to look it up real quick. I want y'all to know his name because he even came to me spiritually and he asked me if this is what I'm going to do. Like, am I going to allow him to do this and get away with it? And even though I don't have any connections to this guy, I'm not the type of person, on the journey that I'm on, I'm not the type of person that will allow somebody to kill someone and get away with it, especially if I know something. And it's sad because further on in my message, I spoke about how people will try to make you feel bad for speaking up on a certain person and what they doing or whatever the situation is, like how I'm speaking up on the domestic violence and how I'm speaking on this murder right now. People tell you that you're a snitch. But them the same people that if something happened to them or their family members, they would be quick as hell to want somebody to find out who did it to them. They would want to put money up in order to pay the person who was willing to speak up on what happened to their family member. So be careful when you point fingers and calling people snitches, because you could be in the same situation whereas though your life was in danger or your life was taken or somebody in your family was in danger or life was taken, and you want answers and you want that person to be held accountable for what they did. Stop calling people snitches for standing up for themselves. Stop calling people snitches for protecting other people. Stop calling people snitches for protecting other people. This is how I see it. If you are saying that somebody is a snitch, that's because You live the lifestyle where you do fucked up shit to people and you don't want your shit out there, and you're protecting other people who do shit like that, so you don't want their business out there, so you're gonna call the next person a motherfucking snitch, right? So that's your lifestyle. But on the other hand, people like me who are really civil citizens, who are out here as earth angels, healing the collective, healing Mother Earth, and patching that bridge to healing for others, we don't live like that. So you can't call us a snitch when you would be the same one who will want results for your murder or a murder of your family members, and you can't call us a snitch when y'all the same ones and there's people around you who feel the same way. If somebody is beating on you, if somebody is gang stalking you, if somebody is stalking you down and trying to kill you, if somebody is planning your murder, if you know you got a murder for hire on your motherfucking head, and you know that other people out here going through the same thing, you want the same results for that person to be protected, for that person to find their way out of the situation, and for the people who are coming against them to be dealt with accordingly. Let's not get it fucked up. I see it like the people who choose to say no snitching, they got something to hide, and they out here doing the same shit to people. And those the same people who need the people who like to play with motherfuckers like y'all to deal with y'all. See, it's people like me, we don't got time for that shit. We gonna hand that shit over to the motherfuckers that like to play with people like that. That don't make niggas a snitch. If anything, that make that person real smart. Because that person is not going to let somebody else take them the fuck out. And that person is not going to let somebody else that they care about handle that person that's trying to take them the fuck out. We're going to hand it to the motherfuckers who put their life on the line every day to take a motherfucker out. That be out here trying to take motherfuckers out. If you get my drift, you get my drift. If it went over your head, it wasn't for you. Anyway, I want to look up what this man's name is, so that's what I'm doing. Hold on a second. Okay. June 29th. Okay, there we go. I don't want to put, let me see, I could put this much in there. Okay. Arrest made in kidnapping, fatal shooting of New Jersey man, cops say. June 29th, 2020. Okay. So I've been in a hotel since then. And even before that, God was trying to get me to move out of my apartment. So I had went down to Georgia and all of that. I said that in another video or whatever. So the guy name is, let's see, Pedro Fernandez. And I think he's a junior. Okay. So Pedro came to me and he asked me, is you just gonna let this go down like that? Because he already know my status in the spirit realm. Like, I'm not for that shit. He already know my energy. He died and didn't even know me and ended up finding me because of the person who was connected to his fucking murder. Okay? That's how he found me. And spiritually, he came to me. And he knew I wasn't gonna let it go down like that. That's just not my energy. Anyway. So, let me get back to this, what I wrote over here. Okay. Him and his gang members, maybe 4 of them, set up a meeting with this guy. I just told you his name. They pulled up on him and forced him into the truck. They murdered the guy and dumped his body in an alley in Camden, New Jersey. My son's dad was caught driving the vehicle the next day and got locked up. His mother called me and said he had blood on his clothes. He was caught driving the vehicle used in the murder, and he was never coming out. When I first heard that, I'm going to stop the story real quick. When I first heard that, I was shocked that I had been dating somebody who was capable of murdering somebody, because that's not the type of energy I don't. Listen, if you murder somebody, let it be because they did something to you. You feel me? Like, let it be in self-defense or something. Like, even with him having people after me, I never attacked those people. Like, even with people like my son's dad or other people who have tried to attack me physically, I never killed them. I never did that. Like, I'm going to defend myself, but I feel like people should be able to live their karma out. That's just my opinion. So, yeah. That's how I feel about that. So when he came to me, I was just like, man, this nigga need to go to jail. Not only because what he did, but because he was trying to get me murdered too. Like, if he hadn't have went and murdered that guy, he would have still been working on me getting murdered. But the way God worked, and sorry for this person who had to get killed in between time, but the way God worked, he will make that person who has bad intentions for you, that's around you, he will make them do something that will hinder them from harming you. So he murdered somebody, and that turned his path down a different route, to where as though what he was trying to plan for me with his people, it didn't work. Okay? So, my son's dad was caught driving the vehicle and got locked up. Okay? And I told you his mother called me. Mind you, he was using his gang members in my area to track me down to murder me in a home invasion. Him and one of his gang affiliates called me and said, bitch, you about to be dead like Pop Smoke. I heard him laughing in the background, and then his friend hung up. I know his friend hung up because his friend was the one that had the phone closest to his mouth while I heard my baby dad in the background talking. I reported the death threats, the stalking, and the violations of the restraining order, but he had not been caught for it until the murder of this guy. Even while he was in jail, he was using the jail phones and hitting cell phones to call his mom and have her send people he knew after me. He asked her to get his homeboys to take me out, and she asked me to come and get my boys and take them out for the day. I didn't know at the time how much she was involved, so I met up with her at the train station. I was being tracked from the train station, but I lost them. Then she tried to keep my boys. She texted me and asked me if she could keep them overnight after I already had an agreement with her to bring them back by 5. I said no, so she was supposed to come back on the train. She had me sitting at the train station for about an hour when she told me she was on her way. In that time, she got a ride from someone, but I was sitting in the cut waiting for her to get off the train. There was one guy who stood at the train stop the whole time after getting off the train. The train was coming from Camden. Trains come and went 15 minutes apart, and he just stood there looking around. He was even near when she pulled up. He asked me my name when I walked over to the car she came in, because she called me and said where was I at. So I had seen a car had pulled in, so I walked over to that car. While I was walking to that car, he asked me what was my name, and I ignored him. Then my boys jumped out the car, and we took the long way home walking. When my boys and I got home, they told me that soon as they got on the train, she got a call from my youngest son's dad. He was so loud that they heard his tone and what he said. He asked her if she saw where I lived at. She told him no, she only met me at the train station. He asked her to ask my youngest son. But they didn't know that God told me to warn my boys that if anybody asks where we lived, to tell them to ask me. So that's what he did. My son's father yelled at her and then told her to put my son on the phone. So then he tried to ask my son. He got the same answer. He didn't ask right away either. He tried to ask him about school and his grade level, and he was in this energy where he was trying to get my son to feel comfortable with him before he asked that question. So he asked my son about the grade he was in and told him he was getting so big and that he misses him and loves him. Then he asked for our house address. My son gave him the same answer. He then told my son angrily to put his mama on the phone. He started yelling at her and she turned the phone volume down, explaining how she tried. Her problem with me is that I know how low she gets. She has sex with her female students after they get to high school. She's a basketball coach in Camden, New Jersey. She tried to have sex with me and I rejected her. He was in jail. I told y'all that I wrote him and told him about it. He was pissed at her and never wrote me back. So I don't know what conversation they had. But after that, their plans to kill me was birthed. The day I got the restraining order, she told me he had been planning my murder for 3 years while he was in jail for the gun charge. She knew he had me right where she wanted me to be and he wanted me to be, at her house. People keep saying I should start fresh with her and allow them around my sons. I've done that for 9 years. The last year to date, I've been living in a hotel from all of these people. I got a restraining order against his mother now because of her conspiring to have me killed, and just recently being tracked to my hotel. What I hear a lot of people say really bothers me about dealing with domestic violence. It's always people who say that we either did it to ourselves or they feel like we're not doing enough to get out of the situation. Nobody who has gone through or is going through this life or death situation asks to have this fight. But now that I have and am going through it, I can help other victims see how even police can be used to find you because their family has connections. How family working at the bank you have an account with can get access to where you go shopping most. Even in jail, they can and will do a murder for hire. And how even your own family members who are jealous of you will take money to give information on you. It may sound paranoid, but I don't care. Everything I am saying is true. That's partially why they want me gone too. Because I'm living in my mission to open eyes and hearts of the world to see the blind spots and make a better way to protect women and children, to protect the victims, to give a voice to those who already are dead from this type of situation, and to give a voice to those who are too afraid to speak up. Do you know, 4 days ago, I almost lost my son, and I said that in the beginning. It was 4 days ago when I wrote this, but now it's been a week going on 2 weeks. No, it's been 2 weeks going on 3 weeks. Sorry. My son went to get the laundry. I told y'all that story. So I'm going to fast forward. Okay. Even though the camera at the hotel has this guy recorded following my son, I'm not allowed to see it, but they can confirm it to the police. The officers need a subpoena to see the footage, and we are no longer there. I was told by the Most High to cut off the kids' phones. I am now out of the state of New Jersey and will be continuing to make sure they all go to jail for what they are doing. Silence means more dead bodies. Remember that when you're trying to stick to a code, only murderers live by. Only murderers live by. I'm a child of the Most High God. No weapons formed against us shall prosper, but that doesn't mean it won't be planned and tried. That just means I need to trust what I hear from God. I need to trust what He tells me so He can continue to protect us. It is my duty to protect others by speaking up. I'm not a street thug, so I don't play with guns. I don't put hits out on people because I know God will serve them the best last meal they will ever and could ever have. I want what's best for them all, but God knows what's best. I did a reading on this situation with my son's father and his mother and aunt, and they are going to jail with him. The dudes involved in the hits will go to jail too. The females they used will also start speaking up about what's going on, and they will possibly go to jail too. Just last week, in I think it was like the end of June. I think it was June 28th. There was another guy that was caught for the murder in Cherry Hill. He was caught for the same murder exactly a year later. So just know justice will be served. But like I say to my kids, God gives these people enough rope to hang themselves, and He will call karma to be their coroner. This is universal law. Every law falls under that. Make sure you are on the right side of universal law. So anybody who's out here that feel like speaking up is snitching, you're a part of the problem. Anybody who's collaborating with somebody to murder somebody, you will get the same karma that that person get who tries to do the murder or plant the murder. Here, let me take my sip. Yeah, it's all gone now. But that's just a part of my story. There's plenty more. I just wanted to do my part by getting that much out. If anybody is a victim of domestic violence or knows somebody who's a victim of domestic violence, please get them the information that they need to go into shelter and get safety from these people. If anybody knows about a murder, you should speak up because you would want the same done for you or your family member. It should be an end, a dead end to the stop snitching shit. Because you're letting people get out of jail and get away with doing other murders. And it's not right. It's not good for nobody. It's not good for these kids. It's not good for the person. It's not good for their family. And it's not good for you when you have to answer to God for your participation in these type of situations. So like I said, choose which side of karma you're going to be on.